Welcome to It's a Woman's World, where we'll meet achieving women making a difference in our community. I'm Carolyn Bruna. Our guest is Ines LeBow, CEO and founder of Enterprise Transformation Solutions. Welcome, Ines.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm happy to have you here. And I was just talking with somebody yesterday, and they said that transforming, changing up businesses, making them more profitable is actually an art. So I was thinking about you this morning and saying, oh, you're an artist.
It's a science and an art to transform companies,
Yes.
to make changes in the companies, to identify what solutions are required for different companies, because it's different from every company.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
So I want to say that I've been watching some of your videos from other shows, and I found out that you're from Argentina, but you consider yourself a Washingtonian, correct? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my mother had 12 brothers and sisters, and they all lived in the United States, but we were living in Argentina.
Oh.
And so at the age of 10, we decided that, my parents decided that we wanted to be with a family, and so we came to Washington, and been here ever since. Went to all the way through college here in Washington.
So enough years that you
right.
say, yes, I'm a Washingtonian. I think many of us have been here for years and years as well, right, and consider ourselves Washingtonians.
I am definitely, you know, if people say Washingtonian, it's been a long time, you know, and really integrated into the community.
Oh, sure, yeah. And also, you had said on another show that as a child you liked to fix things. So is that how you decided to fix businesses?
Yes. So I always liked, ever since it's in my DNA. So whenever I was doing things growing up, I like to fix things. I like to come up with solutions, and I could see the solutions to different problems, and so it became my passion. So when I started in the work world, it was a perfect segue and transition of all these of all the years of having been in this mode of coming up with solutions and having a passion for that.
Oh, that's wonderful brain therapy in a sense.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that idea of seeing the solution as you're thinking about the problem. I love that. So tell us, what is ETS, or Enterprise Transformation Solutions?
So we are, I call us business, operational, and financial change management architects.
Wow.
So we come into companies who are having a difficulty of some kind, right? And we come in and we help identify the issues, and then we architect solutions, and we stay with them through the implementation.
Oh, okay, yeah. And so then what kind of a company would want to use your business?
So we're really working with the underserved community, which is the 5 million to 50 to 100 million. We also have customers who are $1 million to $5 million, and there are really 5 types of companies. So one of them is a company that's good. It's a good company, but wants to be great. So I'll give you an example. We have a customer who's a $6 million client, and in 3 years, you know, they've been in business for 3 years, which is really good to become $6 million in 3 years. But they've reached the plateau, and so the CEO called us to understand what's going on in the company. So that's one kind of client we have. We call it good to great, that kind of client. We have clients who want to exit their business, and they are, in order to exit, they need to position their company for better valuation of the company. So there are operational issues in the company, so we come in to help them identify those and then position them to exit. So actually myself, I've been brought into those kind of companies. I was in 12 companies, and we exited 9 successfully because we were able to do this transformation. The third kind of company is a company who wants to do an acquisition, but they can't really do an acquisition until they identify, do they have the capability and capacity to integrate another company in their company, right? The fourth kind of company is truly a company who needs total re-engineering from beginning to end. They don't have structure, they don't have processes, procedures, the people don't know what their positions are and so forth. And the last one we're excited about is that we are mentoring, we're working with startup companies who require mentoring and coaching. And that's really rewarding because we get to see them from the beginning all the way to through their journey.
That's very interesting. And the startup companies, I guess, is that a relatively new portion of your company that you are fixing or starting now?
It is. It is.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people call us who are saying, well, will you work with us? They might need an investor deck, right? So they can get financing.
Oh, I
Just
see.
some fundamentals
Yes.
to get started. Or they have received funding, but, and here they're like, I have money now, but we go, stop. We have to structure a company.
What do you do with this money right now?
Right.
That you have it?
What do you want your company to look like, right? We have to stop and put a plan together with them. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, and your plans, I know, it sounds very complex, though, I will say to me. And then your plans, part of your plans include a lot of assessments. And I've heard you say that you do the assessments. And then do you stay with the company during the assessment? Do you teach the company how to, how do you assess and what happens
So
there?
let's say you call us up, right, and you want our help. So we have 3 fundamentals. The first step is we're going to be doing a diagnostic. We have a proprietary diagnostic review, and it will take you 10 minutes to take it. And once you take and you have to be honest, answer honestly as a CEO, it'll cover 5 areas, and I know we're going to be talking about these in more detail, but they're your people, communications, customers, processes, and your brand, right? And you have to be really honest. Then we'll do the analysis, and you can see clearly when we do the analysis the areas that you will need some support. The second portion of our engagement will be that we will work with you to put together a detailed roadmap. It's like you get in your car and you're driving and you don't know where you're going. That's where you end up. But we're going to put together a roadmap and a strategy for you for each area. And then the last piece is we provide you ongoing support.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
And then you had mentioned something about 4 pillars. Are these the parts of the pillars?
Right, they're the 5 pillars.
5 pillars.
Right.
Oh, okay.
They're
Yes. Just name them again, the pillars.
Sure. It's your people.
Your people.
Your customers.
Customers.
Communications.
Okay, communication.
Process. And brand.
Brand. Okay, yeah, it's very comprehensive.
Yeah.
Amazing. You were also mentioning that the CEO has to be honest. So, of course, that makes sense, but I'm sure that's difficult. And how difficult is it the CEO has to look at himself, herself, the company, and so how difficult is it for them to even, I guess you'd say, assess themselves first to say, I want to bring you in to help me with whichever one of those pillars I seem to need help with. Yeah.
So the first step is self-awareness, right? You have to be aware of yourself. It's like the AA and 12-step program. The first one is, being self-aware and wanting change. You have to want change. You have to want to be able to bring help someone to come and help you, right? It's recognizing the need, right? It's sort of, it's like you decide you're going to go exercise, right? And you by yourself, you're going and you can accomplish, but wouldn't you accomplish more if you had a trainer? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I've always wanted a trainer.
Right.
Yes,
You get more guidance.
Come to me every day. That would be my dream. Really,
Right.
it's one of my dreams.
Right. Mine too. Right. You get more guidance and direction, and that's what we do. We are. I would say another way to put it is we're your trainers, right? We're going to be there for you. We're going to show you your moves. We're going to the same thing, but you have to want to get a trainer. You have to admit that you have a problem, that it would be great if I had, that I can't do it all by myself, and I do need to bring somebody in. And you have to commit the time, because we can't do it without you, so you have to commit the time for us to work with you. And it gets pretty intense because we work with you 6 hours a week, right? And because all this work that needs to get done, and change doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah. Well, then how do you market ETS? What do you do to get your name out there? And
So a number of things. One of them is I'm very lucky that I'm getting referrals from people that I've worked with and CEOs that know me, so we've gotten referrals from them. We do, we're on LinkedIn, we market on Facebook, we have blogs, do blogging to the community, really using the social network that we didn't used to have, but we have today, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. And so my partner and I have started, he started this group, it's called the National Association of Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. And we have monthly events for CEOs of small to mid-sized companies. And we bring in, really interesting speakers to come to these events. It's for entrepreneurs. It's what can you take away? If you take away one thing, and we've been able to get a lot of referrals from there as well.
I want to quick get in, because we're running out of time for the first half. One of the things that really interested me was you were saying that 70%, was it, of employees are dissatisfied in their jobs, but it's not necessarily from money. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, as I was doing research, right, I found that 70% of all Americans that work today are dissatisfied with their job, and there are two reasons for it. One of them is because of their peer groups, which I'll talk about more in a minute, and the second reason is because they're managers.
Oh.
So the managers in particular, people get promoted into management positions, and the one thing that they need is people skills, but they don't have people skills. Right? I mean, if it's therapy, right? It's really understanding, why do people come to work? So that takes you to the first one. The reason that they are not happy because of peers is because there's a lot of discord. And we have come to find out it's because people, when you come to work, you want to be part of a community. You want to know what your goals and objectives are. And you want to accomplish every day, right? And the problem is that most of these employees do not know the company. They don't know the company strategy. They don't know the company goals. They don't know the company objectives. They are hired in to do one particular job, and you get there, and it doesn't marry with the job description or what was described. They're not properly trained. So what happens? They turn on each other. Every company I've been in, every company I've walked in, and I get recruited by CEOs to come in and help turn around these companies the last 35 years.
Interesting.
And every company, the first thing I have to do, the very first thing, and I do it now in my company, my own company, is we have to find out what's going on with the employees. And every time we find out, they don't know what their job is. Because there's this lack of communication and process and procedures, and yet these are the employees who are the face to your customers.
Actually, we're going to talk more about that. You're going to give some takeaways and what some companies can do
Right.
to assess and work with their employees.
Right.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We'll return after this short public service announcement.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning. Why?
Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Welcome back to It's a Woman's World. We're speaking with Ines LeBow of Enterprise Transformation Solutions. Hi, Ines. For the second half, I want to start with a quote that I heard you say that I really love. And it's, your customers will not love your company until your employees love it first. And it sounds wonderful. I really understand that, but I want you to tell us more about it. Yeah.
So the quote is a famous quote by another consultant. His name is Simon Sinek, so I didn't make that up. But so your employees are your company,
Okay.
and that's one of the things that people talk about, but you have to integrate it at a very deep level. That the people who generate the revenue for the company and the people who implement the revenue for the company are your employees, right?
True, right.
And
yeah.
so, and if they don't feel that they're part, as I said earlier, the community,
Right.
if your employees don't know their strategy of the company, their goals or objectives, if you're not providing the appropriate guidance and direction for them, right? And what I found in working in all these companies these years, that I'll give you an example. So when I come into a company, and I tell them what their revenue goal is and what their financial goal is, and break it down to them. This week, this is what we need to accomplish. This is what we need to accomplish for the month or the quarter. And here's everybody's role in doing that. They feel energized. They feel they're part of the company, and explain to them what we're trying to accomplish. Oftentimes, and that includes, for example, the receptionist, right, of a company.
Yeah,
because your employees are the face
True.
of your company to your customers. So your customers won't love your company until your employees love it first, because you and I, we've called customer service before, and we know someone who, if you call, for example, if you call Amazon, they're with you. They try to help you. What can we do for you? Versus you call a utility company, which shall be nameless.
Right.
They want to hang up with you. They don't solve your problem. They want to go on to the next thing. I'm the customer in those, or you are in those situations.
Right.
And those people who pick up the phone, whoever they may be, are the face to, they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And I, as a customer, I know who's really engaged with their customer or not. And we find every day in our lives, not just when we're in a company, but all of us as customers of different products and services, right?
Yes, exactly. And as I was actually going to say that, this works not just for your company, but all companies and people in groups and organizations, whatever you're in. When you know the boundaries and know what you're doing, I think you get more of a satisfaction. And so you're not only bringing them together, but you're they're learning how to be satisfied and enjoy the work of their company, because they're a part and they fit in, is what it sounds like what you're saying to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing that companies forget, they're very internally focused, right? Rather than being externally focused. In this case, who pays their paycheck? Who pays the company's bill? It's your customers, right?
Oh.
The customers are critical.
True. Yeah.
In every
That's
company
interesting.
I've been in, everybody internally is so, as I said to begin with, their peers, and they're all arguing, and they're all arguing because they don't know what's going on in the company.
Right.
Everybody forgets about the customer. I remember when I was growing up, my mother used to, and since I'm 10 years old, my mom had us work we had restaurants in DC.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
And and so I would grumble. I'm a little kid, and I'm grumbling about the customers, and my mother used to say, "Oh, the customer's always right."
Yes.
But people give lip service to that today, right?
Yeah.
But my mother would always say, who do you think pays for,
Such an interesting point, and when you said the customer is really the one paying your check, we don't think that. You think the employer, of course. That's very interesting. But since this is a woman show, I want to get to women, and I know you work more with men in what you're doing, but you also coach and mentor women. So tell us a story about a woman that you've mentored or coached.
Well, this is really exciting. So I coach for different shows, and people call me up if I'm willing to do coaching. It's usually entrepreneurs who are trying to raise money for their new business, right? Their startup business, they're trying to raise money. And so there's a process that they need to follow, and I help them put their investor deck. It's an investor deck, so I help them put together. And I met this woman, and she was, not only does she have a full-time, high-powered job, but at night she started a software company. And she, 7 days a week at nights and all weekends, she worked on her software company while she was in a high-powered job. And with that job, she had to travel to Europe and everywhere. But not 1 minute did she give up on her software company. And I helped her put together her investor deck. I helped her with the investors, make decisions around it, what's the best kind of investment. And it was so amazing to work with her. And she ended up getting investment. And she actually, August, she launched the new company. And she didn't do it by herself. She had other females that she enlisted who also had full-time jobs, right? And helped and worked at night. They all were working at night and weekend, and so I participated with them. It was really gratifying and really exciting. What
That sounds very exciting.
I know, and the key to this is for females.
Yes.
Is that you have to really focus. You have to really want it. You're going to be making sacrifices. So, for example, my friend, she wasn't doing other things for someone her age. She was in her late 20s. You have to be determined that this is what you want, right? So that's what's really exciting.
Yeah. That's good. Determined, focused, energized. You need a lot of energy, I think, to do that. Yeah.
Empowered. That you can do it.
That's true.
Right.
Really want to do it. Yeah, that's really good. And then additionally to that, takeaways for how companies can teach their employees or communicate better with their employees. I know you're going in and showing them, and then what can we have takeaways for somebody out there who has a company, and how can they communicate better with their employees?
I think the key to the kingdom is really they know what their strategy is. They don't always have a clear strategy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right? They haven't really articulated it themselves,
Right.
And a lot, and the goals, what are the goals and the strategy? That's the number one takeaway, really. One of the things I learned is, like, I went into one client, And what that person did is he put together, strategy and goals, and he had everybody put it on their office door. and it's meaningless, right?
Oh.
Right, because you have to communicate it. Everybody has to understand it. Because the strategy and goals, you have to put together a detailed, implementable roadmap from there that everybody followed by all communicated to everybody, process and procedures around it.
Oh, I see. So do they have to work together then? The owner has to know, and the CEO, of course, and then they work with the people. Oh, I see. Okay,
And let me give you a good example of process and procedure in this whole concept, right? So we've all been and listened to an orchestra, right?
Right.
So we have the conductor and we have the musicians, and they have they have their sheet of music, and they have a very clear, how they move their bows left to right, and what they need to be doing. It's a process, right, and a procedure they all follow. And they have a conductor and a first chair and so forth, right? That's the orchestra. Yeah. So think about this. All of a sudden, two of these musicians, they decide, I'm not going to follow that sheet music. What happens? Dissidence, right?
Right, sure.
Screechy music. That's the same in a company. If they don't know everybody's role, right? That's the definition of process and following a procedure that's established. So if they have the strategy, everybody then needs to know where they fit in and what their role is. Okay, and that's the takeaway.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, yeah. And then give us another takeaway for businesses who might want to use your company. What can they do right now to assess themselves?
They have to want to change.
That's the big thing. Therapy, want to change.
It's therapy, right? They have to want to change. They have to want to have a coach, a trainer who come in and help them. They have to dedicate the time and the resources that's required, right? And it takes total focus. How much do you want it? Do you want to succeed?
Okay, interesting, yeah. Well, tell us how people can get in touch with you.
So my email is ilebow@transformationsolutions.pro, and my website is transformationsolutions.pro.
Okay. And then I'm going to real quickly ask you to give a takeaway for a path that owners can follow for their companies to turn them around right now, to begin
turning around. So oftentimes I think turnaround it can't be done, but it can. I'm here to tell you it can. Okay. So the first step is to go get a coach, to get an advisor to come in and to take a deep look at the 5 areas we talked about.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And the very last thing you want people to remember about your business and about to up their own profitability. What?
So we want them to remember that there is help, that there are people who are here to help them turn around their company and to help them with their people, process, systems.
I see.
Right, and help them with their staff.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I've learned so much from you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
I hope you've enjoyed meeting our guest, Ines LeBow, and learned a little bit about transforming companies and how to keep not only your customers, but your employees happy. If you know a woman who's gone above and beyond to contribute to our community, please email us or womansworldtv@aol.com. Remember, it's a woman's world. I'm Carolyn Bruna. See you next time.